This is not a test.
Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be looking into the Purge franchise today. Now, the Purge franchise is a franchise that a lot of you guys have been wanting me to cover, and I've felt like holding it off all the time because I couldn't really be bothered with the Purge movies. I watched the first three originally when they first came out in the cinema, and I didn't bother with the TV show or the latest two Purge movies. So I will be looking into all of these movies. I won't be getting into the TV show just now. I'll maybe look at that at a later date. So as usual, what I'm going to be doing is I'll be doing a review for all the Purge movies, and then after that, I'll be doing a ranking of all the Purge movies. And what better date to start doing reviews for the Purge films than the annual Purge date, March the 21st. Something unique about the first Purge movie is it is the first in the franchise. There's nothing to go by in terms of the rules of the Purge. They can start off with a fresh. We don't know what's happening. And I think that's why I really like the Purge. Now, I know that a lot of people actually don't like the Purge film. Now, again, I'm not a massive Purge fan, but I do read that a lot of people don't really like the Purge, but they like future films. So it will be interesting to review them all. But something about the original Purge is with every Purge movie that comes out, then the original goes down on people's lists. So it will be interesting for myself to see where this one ranks. However, I went to the cinema to see this one. I wasn't expecting much from it, and I was pleasantly surprised. And then going back to it again after all these years, 11 or so years, I'm still pleasantly surprised as to how well this movie holds up. I like the home invasion films where a film where these people are isolated. Now, the Purge films have went off in a tangent and it's worldwide or nationwide where you see everybody in the streets running after each other. But this one still feels like grounded and realistic in reality because you got a family and it focuses on this one family in this one street. So we don't know what's going on outside at this point in this franchise. So they keep it intact because we only see it from a family's point of view. And with this family, you get to know more about these people than you do in future films. I'll talk about the future films later. But with Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey, that's the mum and dad in this, and they've got the two kids. The dad owns this security company and he helps to build security for your house on the annual Purge. And then you've got all these houses around them in a nice rich neighbourhood who've also got these security systems, and with the more security systems that he sells, the richer he gets. And his neighbours don't really like that. They don't like that he's getting rich off of his inventions, but at the same time, that's his job and he's keeping them safe. So why should he feel guilty in doing his job? And I think that's what, it didn't annoy me, but it annoyed him, it annoyed Ethan Hawke, that why are you annoyed by me securing you? Yes, you have to pay for it, but you have to pay for everything. So I don't really get why his neighbours are so angry with him. There's always a spanner thrown in the works in these types of films, and that is the daughter having her boyfriend over. And I just knew straight away that a boyfriend was going to cause a bit of a problem, or she was going to cause a bit of a problem with her boyfriend. And when the lockdown happened, her boyfriend was supposed to be away, but it turns out he stayed in the house and he was hiding in the house. So now they've got someone else in the house there. But at the same time, they've also got an outsider that the son just didn't want to die. The stranger, as we call him at this point in the franchise. And he lets him into the house. So there's two people in the house that we don't know are going to attack the family or not. Something that I really liked about the story was we were so focused on the two intruders, the boyfriend and the stranger, that we forgot about the neighbours around. So throughout the film, this family are trying to protect themselves, or they think they're trying to protect themselves against the stranger. But the person that they should have really been worried about initially was the boyfriend, because he wanted to kill the girl's father, Ethan Hawke. So we'll go through this kind of cat and mouse between these three, the stranger, the boyfriend and the family. And the family are quite dysfunctional as well because they don't hate each other, but they also don't look like they love each other either. So they're going through the house trying to find the stranger, but they're also looking at the problems outside because they can hear gunshots and trying to keep themselves safe. But because the stranger gets taken into the house, these people come to the house to say, we want the stranger, give us back the stranger. But Ethan Hawke's like, well, I will give you him back, but I can't find him. But the family are going through this crisis where Do they want to give a stranger up to save their family but have a guilty conscience? Or do they want to hold them and protect themselves against the threat outside? So they've got a decision to make. And that's something that you don't really see. I know I'm talking about other Purge films, but it's something that you don't really see in other Purge films that I've seen anyway, that family dynamic. Straight from the beginning, we knew this was a kind of political type of movie. And it's the type of politics that I do like in films, especially horror films, because it's unrealistic politics. Yes, you've got some realism in it where you've got the rich that are loving the purge and the poor are just trying to get away. And that's normal because the rich can afford to protect themselves and arm themselves, whereas the poor can't, and they're after the poor because they want to rid society of these rats around their area. And that's basically what the purge is there for, to get rid of people that they don't want to pay for in society in America. So it's got a bit of realism to it, but it's taken it to an unrealistic level. So it is quite political, but it's the politics that I enjoy to see, because I like to see this the little man getting above the big rich man, and that's kind of what we see in this movie. Yes, it's a rich family, but they're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing by the stranger, by not handing him over to these rich idiots. So because they're not doing that, they're becoming normal. We now root for this family because they're doing the right thing. So we hope that they survive, and the people outside that are trying to get in, the rich yuppies that are trying to kill the stranger, we root for these people and kill the bad guys. And because it's purge night, then there's no rules, so they can kill each other. So that's what it's all about. These rich people trying to get in to kill the family now, as well as the stranger. So because we're so concentrated on this story, we forget about the neighbours again. So when everybody starts killing each other, the yuppies get killed, we think it's over because the neighbours come to help. And I thought at that point, when I first seen the movie, do you know what? Everybody helps each other, they help your neighbour out, and that's what they were doing in this movie. But when we find out that these neighbours were also rich yuppies that just wanted to kill people, that's what they wanted to do. They were jealous of this family, that they were willing to help them so that they can be the ones to kill the family and not the other rich people that were trying to kill the family as well as the stranger. But this neighbourhood watch group weren't expecting the stranger to be there. So because they weren't expecting the stranger to be there, then the family at some point had the upper hand because they had someone on the inside who was able to help them because they helped him. And of course, Ethan Hawke, the dad, died in the film, but he didn't die without killing people in the end. But at the same time, because the family were willing to help a stranger, the stranger was then willing to help the family. Of course, the stranger has a bigger story in the second and the third movie, but at this point, he was just this homeless man that we didn't know, and he thought, do you know what, you helped me when you didn't have to, now I'm willing to help you. So he helps the rest of the family hold off the neighbours until the purge is over. Instead of killing the neighbours that they could have done, they decided, do you know what, I'm not going to kill you guys, I'm going to let you survive and then see what you've done. Now that's something that maybe people don't like about this film, because they don't kill the neighbours and they let the neighbours go. But how does that work out for the next year? If I let my neighbours live during a purge and then it stops, you've then got a year to kill each other again. So do you walk past each other throughout the rest of the year and go, oh, hi neighbour, how are you today? Knowing that when the next purge comes, they're probably going to try and kill you again. So we don't get to see that in the future because this family and story is not explored again. As far as I'm aware, don't spoil it if you know. So they just don't go back to this story. So it's a one and done story. The only thing that comes back is the purge, the annual purge with other characters, which is great, but we don't see this family again. But what I saw from this family, I would like to see again in the future. Where does the mum go? Does she meet another guy? Where do the kids go? Because they've obviously grown up now. Where do they go during the next purge or future purges? So there is a lot of questions to be asked in this purge film, but at the same time, if it was a one and done, I think more people would appreciate the first purge more. But because they explore the annual purge, the thing that they celebrate every year, I think that's why people don't really like this film anymore, because it only focuses on one family, whereas the future ones, they focus on a lot more, which maybe is a positive to people. Overall though, guys, I think for a concept like this, it is quite on the nose when it comes to politics, but I think it was a good concept, something that's obviously spawned 4 sequels and a TV series, so they must have done something right. So I still thoroughly enjoyed The Purge. I don't know why people hold a grudge against the movie. It had great acting, great cast, great story, and it was isolated, something that I absolutely love in a horror film. And it was unique at the time. It was something cool at the time, something that I'd never seen before. Obviously, you've seen something like that in like futuristic films from the 80s and the 90s, but to be this visceral and so on the nose with the politics, it was quite unique for me. And I'm not American, so I don't take it as seriously as maybe Americans would when they watch The Purge. So I do think that my views on these films might be completely different to someone living in the US, which is understandable because the politics in the US and here in Scotland are completely different. We've got different laws and different opinions on like gun laws, etc. So they're completely different. So I can understand that my views on these movies will be different to people in the US because they will obviously maybe take it seriously or more seriously than we do. So I enjoyed the film though, guys. But what about you? Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of The Purge, and I'll talk to you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back!